There are 3 types of exercise that everyone must do or results will be limited at best. But before I tell you that, check this out. I'm currently in Tel Aviv, Israel. Beautiful place. We're in the Middle East for a few more days. But there's 3 types of exercise, and this is in every program I make, because the program is just about getting a certain goal. It's about making you healthier, more energized, more alive, and allow you to master your emotional states. Really the trilogy of your thoughts and beliefs, your emotions and feelings, and your actions. And that's what we want to do. But these 3 types of exercise are often neglected. People will do one and not the others. So a lot of people will go running. They fall in love with running, which is great, but they often get injured and they often get frustrated because they're not getting the results you want. Sorry, there's a jet going across. And so the first type of exercise, we start and we finish with every training session, because it helps prevent injury and it prepares your body. It gets all your muscles and it creates structural alignment, gets all your muscles firing, so you work as one functional unit. A lot of times, there's something, you may have sat down for a while, and maybe your glutes, the largest muscle in your body on one side, is shut down because of that pressure, and then you go train, and now you reinforce it. Every training session is repetition, it's reinforcing. So in order to correct muscle imbalances that often cause injury and pain and aches and all kinds of stuff, just robs you of energy, these energy leaks, what happens is we need to get all your muscles firing. So we start and finish with structural balance and mobility work. So the first circuit and last circuit of every training session, that's what that's called. And so you don't want to skip that. I know some of you skip that, and I can tell. The second type is cardiovascular conditioning. Cardiovascular conditioning is any type of continuous movement that accelerates your heart rate, and if you continue it, you'll start to sweat. So you want to make sure you get that in. You don't want to neglect that. Now, a lot of people will do that. They'll walk and stuff like that, but it's not enough. And there's a reason for that. Because if you just diet, for instance, and so if you eat less food, well, that's what I mean by diet, and you do more cardiovascular or aerobic activity, like just walking or something, you can lose weight. But for every 10 pounds you lose that way, you'll lose about 5 pounds to 6 pounds of lean body mass. Now, that is a terrible mistake, and study after study shows this, because it's kind of easy to walk around, right? You don't have to think a lot. Where when you do the third type, resistance training, you have to think, you have to be present. It's like a moving meditation. It requires more mental, emotional, and physical effort, but also gives you the greatest benefit of all. But why is it? So when you lose muscle, why is that bad? It's bad because muscle is your metabolism. In fact, the 3rd leading cause of death after the age of 65 is sarcopenia, which is muscle loss. Now, muscle is what allows you to move. And when you lose a certain amount of muscle, you can't move anymore. This is why people fall and break their hips, and then they die from that because they can no longer move. Your body has to move in order to be healthy. For instance, I'll give you a simple example, like you have 33 vertebrae down your spine, and in between it, you have this little pad. It's called an intervertebral disc, and there's no circulation to that area. So it works through something called active diffusion, which means as you move, it's like a sponge. It squishes it out, and then as it relaxes, it sucks up nutrients, and that's how those tissues heal. When there's no circulation, no active diffusion, then those cells, those tissues die, and then they start to erode, and then you have pain. And so we gotta move. In fact, when someone's bedridden, they'll have a physical therapist come in and move their body around because they need to move or they're in trouble. Or they'll put a vibration platform, like a mat, underneath the bed and turn it on so that their body's moving. It's creating the fluids start to move through the body. Now, I could go deep on that, but remember, 3 types of exercise that everyone needs to do. Structural balance and mobility work, we do at the beginning and end of every session. Second type, we do on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays, cardiovascular conditioning. And there's nuances to these things. I'll just know that I know these things and I put them in your program so you have everything you need. And then the third type, which is, if you could only do one, it would be this one, because it increases strength, builds lean body mass, boosts your metabolism, creates a positive hormonal balance. It also increases mobility more than actual stretching, and that's resistance training. Now, resistance training could be done with an $80,000 machine at a gym, or it could just be done with your body weight. It is something you can only do for a short amount of time, like no more than 2 minutes. And so like if you're doing curls, like where you're just lifting a weight like a dumbbell, or you have a band, or you use a machine or a cable, you can use anything. You can just pick up a rock. Honestly, your body doesn't know the difference between a really fancy, expensive gym machine and a rock. It's resistance. Challenge your body in short increments to the point where you can't keep your form is the key. That changes how your genes are expressed. It's so important. So never, never, never skip, any training session, but never, 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 never skip a resistance training session. That is the fountain of youth, my friends. There's going to be more to this in terms of nutrition and so forth, but what you really need to know is that in your program, you have everything you need. And the reason why I'm making this video is very simple. There's something called thought-driven physiology. If someone have a belief that I need to do more, which achievers like us do, like, hey, everything's going good, what do? I need to do more. If it's not going good, I'm not getting a result, what do I need to do? I need to do more. More is not better. There is an effective dose, but intensity trumps duration, my friend. That means challenge creates change. But you can do too much. You want to stimulate, not annihilate. These are the core principles that apply to every human. It doesn't matter who you are. You must challenge your body and then give it what it needs, rest and fuel, so that it can repair itself. So to recap, 3 types of resistance training that's in every program: structural balance and mobility work, cardiovascular conditioning. 3rd, resistance or strength training on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. Thought-driven physiology, the research says this. I'll tell you one study, then I'll let you go. Ellen Langer, first at Yale, now at Harvard Mind-Body Institute, they did a study with what they call chambermaids. These are people that cleaned hotel rooms, but this was done at a time where they called them chambermaids for whatever reason. And what they did is they broke them into 2 groups. They all did the same exact job, and they've been doing it for some time. It wasn't new. And so what they said is, you guys just keep doing what you're doing, but we're going to take some measurements. We're going to look at your blood pressure. We're going to look at your body weight. We're going to look at your hip to waist ratio. We're going to look at your cholesterol. And then the other group, they had an expert come in, someone in a white lab coat, a position of authority, and said, hey, we analyzed your daily activity, and we'd like you to know that you fulfill all the Surgeon General's requirements for a healthy lifestyle. You're doing enough exercise just by how you live. And they changed nothing else. All that changed was what they believed. They're like, hey, I'm doing enough. I don't need to do more. This is awesome. And then they measured them afterwards, after only changes their belief, what they believed. And then they all lost weight. They all improved their hip to waist ratio. Their blood pressure improved. Their cholesterol improved. And when you look at that, why is that? Because our thoughts affect our physiology. It's called thought-driven physiology. So I made this video to let you know that you have everything in every program. The program always works. The question is, will you?